Hey, everybody, it's Chris Murray here. I want to help you think about a very powerful, potentially mind-blowing topic around leadership with regards to people pleasing. So many of us in the early learning field are driven by being a people pleaser, and we're heart-centered. We give it all. We constantly are filling other people's cups and lighting other people's candles. And then lo and behold, we often find ourselves depleted, resentful, unable to lead properly, unable to get things done because we're in overwhelm, and not asking enough of the people around us for help because we're people pleasers. So I want you to get in touch today with your true nature around this important concept, because this notion of being a people pleaser versus a people developer or a people grower or even a people challenger, that is perhaps the most important shift for this field, is to shift from being a leader that's a people pleaser, which is really that's ineffective leadership, to being a people challenger or a people developer. And when you make that shift and you practice that shift over the years of you doing leadership work as an early learning leader, you will see amazing things happen. So what do I mean by being a people challenger? So one tip is to ask yourself how much you are actually dependent on people liking you. Now, just get real with me. Is your sense of self and worth dependent on others liking you? And if you perceive that others don't like you, can that ruin your day? Does it put you into a funk? Does it stop your ability to be productive? Does it make you go open a bottle of wine at night? Does it bring tears? Many leaders in our field are tearful leaders. We hear stories all the time at our academy meetings and in our masterminds of people who have hired directors that can't seem to stop crying. And that's because these folks, God love them, haven't been trained and skilled for how to effectively lead in a way that doesn't require people liking them. And so you have to start separating your emotional, your EQ, your emotional quotient of being able to look at your business or if you're a director in the business, seeing clearly and having clarity around how you might be getting validation from people needing you and people liking you. And so I want you just to do some reflection on this. This is a long-term journey that we are on, hopefully together. I have been doing work on myself as a leader and will continue to do work on myself until I retire. I recently found out that I have made decisions that I verbally told team members about, and then I forgot. And then I accused them of not following the policy when I actually had verbally let them not follow the policy and told them otherwise, but I forgot that I told them that. Because as leaders, especially as business owners, we also get what's called decision fatigue. Do you guys ever get that? We are moving so fast. And I think in 2020, we're moving about 3 times as fast as human beings as we did in 1980. And studies have been done to show this. And in fact, leadership wasn't even really taught in the 70s. Really, in the 1980s is when business leadership started taking hold instead of just business management and the old Peter Drucker philosophy of and so many people of how we learned how to manage businesses. But leadership didn't really come to the forefront until the 80s. And we're moving so fast. And so myself, bringing my story back around, myself as a leader, literally making between 10 and 30 decisions every day. And we get decision fatigue. So it's difficult for me to sometimes remember all the decisions I've made. I'm pretty good, but we all have flaws, right? And so I told my team, hey, you got to help me out. And we got to put more things in writing, and we have to shore up our processes and our systems. And we have to figure out a way that I can remember all of the verbal yeses and green lights that I've given. And it's not easy when you're going at this fast of a pace. My company grew 40% last year, profitably. And at that level of growth and that pace, a lot of decisions are being made and some things are being forgotten or left on the table. So, and it's just human nature. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. So, that's my personal story. And I'm telling you this because I'm on a personal journey to improve my leadership. At the end of the day, it's about you making the shift. And the shift from people pleaser to people challenger or people developer is perhaps one of the most important shifts that my team and I can bring to this industry. Because the childcare field is full of people pleasers. And if you find yourself in that place, you'll know it, because the symptoms of being a constant people pleaser are exhaustion, burnout, emotional vulnerability, needing to be validated by people and by situations in your business, being too emotionally tied into your business, frequent crying. And there's other feelings in there as well. There's feelings of self-worth and esteem and confidence. And, but being liked and being a people pleaser and having the need to be liked is at the core of all of that. And so I wanted just to talk to you today and just be real with you today in this class. And my guidance to you and my mentoring is to make a shift to being a people developer and instead of a people pleaser. And maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, you identify yourself of where you are. Maybe a 1 is a full pleaser and a 10 is a full people developer. And we all play in that scale, in that spectrum with different people on our team. But there's things and systems that you can put into place to shift yourself. And this is about shifts. This is about leader shifts. To shift yourself from being a people pleaser to a people challenger. So at the core, you want to be seeking what is in that person's best interest. So, and in yourself, your own best interest, and in the greater good of the organization. So you might write down on a sticky if you're taking notes from this training, what's in the greater good? The greater good of my organization, my company, my people, and myself. And then, of course, the clients, the kids, the families, and that just flows through, right? But if you focus on this is leadership training. So if you focus on what is in the best interest of that person on my team who is not playing up to her potential, how do I, as the leader, shift from being a people pleaser? So let's just say Marcia. Marcia's a person who's a teacher in my pre-K room. And she's, her potential is 10 and she's playing at a 3. She's coming to school with a negative mindset. She's gossiping. She's can be toxic. She can be late. She might not get her lesson plans done on time. She might not be motivated to get up off the floor when she needs to run around and chase kids. She might not be motivated to clean her class at the end of the night, or at least straighten things up. And maybe she causes drama or trauma with teammates. And so do we just let Marcia go, or do we try to lead her for the greater good of the organization and for the greater good of herself? So what would you do? There are a lot of factors go into that. How long has she been with you, and how long have you been trying to work with her to develop her? Are you meeting with them one-on-one consistently, at least monthly? Do you have a one-on-one tracking form that you use to get them prepped when they show up for your one-on-one? Are you investing in them in between every week and investing in them with time, hugs, praise and professional development. And critiques of when they're off track is, hey, Marcia, I just need to have a side conversation with you because I've noticed and I've observed that some of these behaviors seem to be not in alignment with our core values, or they seem to be off track. Or using empathy. Hey, it seems like you're having a really tough day or a really tough week, Marcia. And lovingly leading her and challenging her to do her best. That's what leadership is about. It's not about being a people pleaser. It's about resetting expectations, making sure you have open lines of communication, correcting behavior that's off, putting people on performance improvement plans, leading them to do their best, inspiring them to go to bat for you. Is your philosophy, if I make people happy, they will follow me? Is it? If so, you're not going to be an effective leader because you're in that people-pleasing mode. To get the best out of your people, you must ask and require and challenge for the best out of them, each and every one of them. And they each have unique skills and strengths. And so you can use many, many tools out there and assessments, and you can use StrengthsFinder and DISC and Colby and all of these things to discover their strengths and help them have clarity around their strengths and their personality profiles. But you need to lead them towards the greater good for the organization. If they're not going to be on your bus and help you drive your bus forward after working with them and coaching them up, then they must get off your bus, right? People write seats, right? But if you need people, if you're needy and you're trying to please people and you want them to like you and you need them, you're not going to be able to effectively lead them. Absolutely not going to be able to work. And people aren't really teaching this in early education. There's not a lot of leadership training. In fact, probably 90% of you haven't actually ever gotten any in-depth, real leadership training. But I just want to leave on this note is assess yourself on that scale of people pleaser versus people challenger. And if you challenge people, you spend time cultivating their skills and strengths, you invest in them, you grow them, and you're an inspiration as a leader who's growing herself. Those people will go to the ends of the earth for you. And I'm thinking about Lori and Dawn. We have an owner, Dawn, Mis Amigos Preschool. Shout out to you. I was just on a pod coaching call with her and she's on fire. She's completely turned her mindset around as an owner. And Lori on her team is her right-hand gal and will go to the ends of the earth for Dawn. And if you don't have those leaders in your organization that will go to the ends of the earth for you as an owner. So with that, people pleaser to people challenger, where are you? And if you're finding that you are being driven by being liked, it's time for you to assess and to start looking for ways to change your belief system about yourself, about what's possible, and change your behaviors. So some things you can start doing to get into more of that people challenger is first, you can assess your people. You can do strengths analysis with them. You can do DISC. You can do different things and assess their strengths and really work with each of them on a one-on-one, scheduled, maybe every other week or monthly. And you meet with each of them and you start developing each of them individually and spending time and investing and filling their bucket and lighting their candle and working with them on strengthening themselves as teachers and leaders. And then you can work on core values-based behaviors and your vision. You can share your vision and your why. You can reset expectations. You can retrain where things are weak, and continue to train, reset, develop them to the core of what you stand for in your company. You can do the core values exercise that we're going to be teaching, which is how to get everybody on board to a commonly held set of core values for what we stand for here at this school. You can write out specific behaviors to each of those core values so you can manage to just behaviors and opportunities for improvement. It's much more objective leadership and management of people when you manage to behaviors and to your cultural expectations based on core values and vision, then you can identify where people who aren't fitting those behaviors and they're not a fit with your culture, you can easily let them go. And that's all leadership too, is because I'm not going to hold on to my toxic people just because I want to be liked or because I'm fearful they're going to go say stuff about me on social media. No, you do not stay with people that don't serve you because out of fear. Okay. And that's the strength of leadership. Okay, everybody. God bless. Love you. Hope this was helpful. Go take some action. Okay. Bye-bye.